Well, yesterday was fun. Yesterday we had a lot of fun talking about the health part of sport and how it can help improve the lives of some of students who play sports, student athletes who are active in sports. And yesterday we had the pleasure to speak to someone who's always been a part of the HiFL Masterclass series, and who is also very close to international players who play for Nigeria, and that's in Dr. Tunde Akimbinu. And today we're going a different direction, and it's even getting better because today we're talking money. And today we've got someone special on the panel who will be speaking to us, our speaker today. He is someone who some of you may be familiar with or not familiar with. Mr. Obinna Lewis-Asonye joins us from one of our sponsors, Stanbic IBTC. So it's a pleasure to have him. The best managers approach every obstacle with clear tactics and formation to give them an edge. Now, every individual should be able to manage their finances in order to thrive in this challenging economic climate. Mr. Obinna Asonye Louis is, people usually like their name called in a certain way. So Obinna Lewis-Asonye is a business development manager for micro pension at Stanbic IBTC, and he'll be providing the ultimate but simple plan to help reach your financial goals at any stage in life. And these goals are very important for our student athletes and even people who are not student athletes, even professional athletes, and even in life in general. So it's my pleasure to welcome Mr. Obinna Lewis-Asonye. You'll hear from him in a bit, but he's got fully packed conversation for us today. I'm not so good with numbers, so I didn't bother doing maths in school, but Mr. Obinna Asonye has come with 532, and there is tagged financial formation for life. So you want to stick around for that. Some of the things you'll be hearing today would help you in future and for a long, long time to come. All right, so let's go on a quick break and hear from our sponsors who have been backing the HiFL Masterclass Series and High Institution Football League since inception. Well, we've got Stanbic IBTC, who of course are proud sponsors, and not forgetting Bold, Hivasa are also in there alongside Nuga. Let's go on that break. I'll come back. We'll welcome Mr. Obinna to the panel, and we'll just get this conversation going. Welcome back to the HiFL Masterclass 3.0. It's actually a series, and we've been on this for 3 years now. Welcome back. I'm Chidebere Anugulu, your host, and today we've got someone special who will be speaking to us. Yesterday was really all about health. But what is health when you don't have wealth? Well, wealth is important, but it's also important to keep wealth. We've got, Mr. Obinna, who joins us for this one. Obinna Lewis-Asonye is a business development manager for micro pension at Stanbic IBTC, and he'll provide the ultimate but simple plan to help you reach your financial goals at any stage. We're talking 532. We're not talking, we're not Jose Mourinho now, even though he doesn't like Jose Mourinho. I think he's not. Mr. Obinna, it's good to have you here on the HiFL Masterclass Series 3.0.
Nice to speak with you, Chidebere. You let the cat out of the bag very early. Okay, it's actually a brace for me on the masterclass. So I can't just wait for 2023. So we can have a hat trick, man. And we're all talking about football today. I actually love, soccer, as they say in some parts. Avid Arsenal fan. Love the victory from Nigeria yesterday. I can't remember the last time we won, 10-0. But I know probably that's some good charm. I don't believe in good luck, but when we have a good result like that, I know we'll have much more people from the team. Yeah, I can see Edgar. Edgar is a Gunners fan. I'd just like to give a little, background about myself, and so those on the line, I need us to probably be attentive. I know we'll be giving out some gifts, but clearly we're going to be passing some financial knowledge, like you said. So I'm actually the micro pension manager with Stanbic IBTC, been over 15 years experience, asset wealth, pension fund administration, and financial management. Of course, Stanbic IBTC is an end-to-end financial service provider. Everything concerning, how you can make money. And one thing I probably like to tell my clients, and what I think should be my legacy and that of our company, is to ensure clients like ourselves think wealthy, get wealthy, stay wealthy, and basically share their wealth. Some people basically want that quick fix, money, probably see all those things. And I'm happy we're talking to a foundation of youth, but it takes a while. I'm not saying you can't make money if you're smart. Anyone can make money, but you basically have to have those, principles of making money. You have to be passionate. I'll probably also say that I'm married to Blessing. I've got 3 boys, Louis, Larry, Liam. I'm a Christian, and like I said earlier, I'm an avid Arsenal and Formula One follower. The beauty about formation, like you said earlier, the 5-3-2, is that we will be looking at that in relation to the 50-30-20 rule of the financial plan. And 2 things I'll bring out from football on Formula One, I'll be putting all those things there. It's all about strategy. We'll be talking about budget and diving in straight for those that probably love football. I know we basically love the high institutional football league. It's been brilliant. It's for the youth, and it's meant to take us to the next level, more like that pipeline to the national team and the likes. Let's link it in a way to what we're talking about today. And you talked about the Jose Mourinho. The 5-3-2 formation basically is defensive in nature. I'll liken it. Yeah, I'm with you. What do you say?
We're packing the bus.
Correct, like you said, packing the bus. I don't want to call any football team like you say, so I don't get into trouble. But basically, it's what the formation Brazil used to win the World Cup. I remember where I was when I watched that flawless, trail to lifting the World Cup with Brazil. So it reminds me of that, and we can liken it to budgeting. So, yeah, how do you link this? Because, like I said, in soccer, in Formula One, it's all about strategy. We don't really want to make it so, so complicated, but it's a simple rule. And the rule is just basically how you can do what? Budget. So the 50-30-20 budget rule, which we've simplified to say it's the 5-3-2, was basically made popular by a US law professor and, of course, a sitting senator. So during this session, we'll be talking much more about, like you talked, it's going to be a numbers game, but we're going to make it as interactive as possible using numbers. We're going to make it as gender inclusive as possible. And I'm going to be stroking guys down the call. The average, they say the ladies actually save money more. Chidebere, I don't need to, I've already told you about, I'm a married man. My wife basically can save much more than myself. I didn't get what you said.
Happy anniversary.
Oh, yeah, I appreciate. You talked about the Twitter handle. And as a person, I follow the Stanbic IBTC handle. Of course, on all social media handles, the Stanbic IBTC. I follow HiFL. I follow at E. Warren, the lady that basically herself and her daughter. So that's the combo about making it a plan. The Brazilian football team, it was the master class because everyone tuned in and everyone understood. And I believe that's basically what everybody's going to do on our show today. So like I said, this budget rule was made popular by the US senator. She's actually a sitting senator, Senator Elizabeth Warren. And that's propping up women, ladies in sports, ladies everywhere. Women can actually set money aside. And one of the examples I'll be using today basically will be a man, because I know men need to basically set money aside. So the 5-3-2, as we call it, is really about budgeting. It's about figuring how you can manage your money each month. You can call it a month. I would like to keep it, short-sighted, short-term, a month. basically, so you are not in any way overwhelmed. And the 532 is also linking it to the 2006 book by the same US Senator Elizabeth Warren. And the name of the book, for those of us that probably would like reading, for me, I downloaded that book. I love listening to my books. It's All Your Worth, the Ultimate Lifetime Money Plan. So it basically helps us with these three concepts. So just take the 532 concept to what we call 5 is your needs. And what basically are your needs? Your needs are the must-haves, the bills you have to pay every month. 3 basically would be your wants. So some people call wants some fun money, things you need to deal with. But for me, I'll basically say that wants are those things that, see, if they are taken out from your budget, you can still live, but to basically be on the bare necessities. Then last but not the least, what I love talking about, the 2, that will be all about savings. Savings is the first step to getting rich. You have to save first, you invest. I tell people that you must have a money personality. And I basically want to get much more interactive. For the we're close to 30 on this call. What is your money personality? You can use an emoji. For me, I can spend when I have money. So that is why I do something like what you call a direct debit. And that is linked to the savings. And I said, go on. I know you've got lots of questions.
Yeah. I mean, I work, so obviously, like, I earn, so I should have a question or two about savings. Basically, what you said so far, the 532 formation is really basically about how how your income is split from the monies you need and the ones you save and the ones you invest.
Correct.
Okay.
Spot on. And we're going to use examples. And before I put up, like an illustration to drive home the point, we're going to be using a perfect example. And we have Michael. Michael is 24, probably like the younger guys out here. You know what? By the time you reach 18, that age in which you take full control of your finances. For us within Stanbic IBTC, we've got lots of, courses, lots of interventions, lots of sessions. We've got one for purely women. We've got one for young adults. We call it new school money. So what I say, and one of the tips, golden nuggets I'll use today is, once you earn that naira or kobo, you have to start thinking about when you retire, or how you set money aside, or how you save. And most people talk about what's happening out there, the war in Ukraine, power, electricity. Don't forget, we talked about the needs. We're going to get there. We talked about a loaf of bread getting costlier, units. These are things that are key. And Chidebere, I know it probably affects not you, myself. How much have you used on power? How much have you used on data? That new car, that new shoe, that Uber, can you drive it? So all those conversations actually link us. And not only having a budget in place, but having a plan in which you can do what? You can survive and also link up tomorrow. We've got inflation, we've got dollars, we've got people on this call that are active in what we call betting. Are you into all those things, betting? Is it a need or a want? And I'm probably going to put it out there on the chat. Is betting a need or a want? And I'll give you guys this tip. Those guys that basically bet, when they make money, everybody knows, but when they lose, nobody knows. One thing I did some few years back, I'm 15 years in the game. I told you about 10 years in marriage. I checked my bank statement, how much I spent. Gosh, sometimes you just have to check that, and you now start reminiscing. The issue is not really about getting people down, feeling down and out, but having a plan and having a financial institution that can do what? That can help you meet your financial goals with the right products, the right pitch that will probably get you there. So, Chidebere, are you ready for us to jump into the gentleman in question? So we have Michael, of course. Michael earns a stipend. We just call that stipend 200K, 200,000 after tax.
Okay.
So that's what we call take-home disposable income.
That's net.
How would Michael now stick to a budget? And how would he be able to plan for his master's? Wow. I said earlier, one of those tips about this 532 financial formation is how to better yourself. It's not a quick fix, it's not money doubling, but it is a careful approach with an income that you made. You know, you told me about your making an income, how to get you to that financial goal. I don't know, I can see some charts, but not all money is earned. Can we save? Emmanuel says, betting is really a want. Emmanuel, you're spot on. So straight to this example, if you allow me, Chidebere, I'm going to share one of those, my nice videos, my nice illustrations to drive home the point.
Okay.
I want to confirm we all can see this.
Yes, we can. I'm sure everyone can.
So just take this to be the 532 budget rule. Your wants. You can see the shopping, the dining out, the hobbies. I really wanted to react and say, is a hobby really a want? But anything that would actually take from your income would be a want. But guess what? Some people's hobbies can actually be a way of getting an income. So far, it's that. In this way, I'm not going into assets and liabilities and spend money on that. This time around, we have groceries, housing. Housing is key. Like I said, within Stanbic, we have ways in which we can help our clients meet their financial needs. Plan, the spend, this is mostly part of it. Health insurance, utility. We've got subsidiaries or companies within Stanbic, whether it's the Stanbic IBTC insurance brokers, whether it's the Stanbic IBTC life insurance company. Within the bank itself, we've got ways in which can help you meet your needs. Then the darling of it all, savings. And like I said, as the match is progressive, you can always change your strategy. Trust me, this is just part of it. But as you grow, as you move around, you need to know how you can deal. And this is a tip for everyone. You should always start off with saving first before any of this. Why? Because you might actually start spending and you find out that you have eaten into it. Correct. So you have to build this into what we have here on ground. So down to Michael, I have not forgotten Michael. So for Michael's upkeep, and this is the classic example, Michael has to give his parents some money for feeding, transportation. Michael has to pay some loans. He has to fuel a generator. In this instance, he has to have data, airtime. These are all needs. And there are some must-dos here, and they're on a monthly basis. So let's just take it that from 50% of the 200,000 income that Michael gets as disposable income, guess what? 100K has to go for his needs. So you can see how simple that is. Just like how you have the formation there, the defensive formation. That's the defense there. So it's straight up. There are two sets of people that actually have come across. There are those that have a plan and those that do not have a plan. If you do not have a plan in the first instance, that's probably like the beginning of the end, if you understand what I mean. So you need to always have a plan, and that is where the 532. So I believe every single person probably on this call understands the 5. That is 50% of all that comes into should be dedicated towards your needs. Like I said, it is just a number. You can play around with it. So let me jump from the 532 to the 2 in this instance. And the 2, and Chidebere, please, you can always interject if you probably need me to, expatiate on any point.
I'm just waiting for you to get to the 2 because I don't want to be
to the 2. Okay, so I'm going to go to the 2, then also jump back to the 3 because I know that 3, the wants. Chidebere, trust me, your wants can be different from my wants. And they say as you get richer, you need to actually come down. And that is where Stanbic IBTC comes into play. Yeah. We have our wealth management specialist. I'm with you, Chidebere. Yeah.
I'd like to also touch on peer pressure, you know, because, I mean, we're talking to a lot of young people here. We're talking to people who are student athletes. We're talking to regular people. And sometimes peer pressure can make people, you budgeted to spend, and this is a real life situation. You're hanging out with your friends, and it's happening to some of us here. You're hanging out with your friends, and you budgeted to spend 10K in this hangout. You don't want to spend too much, just 10K. And you know, I'll give you this, and this is an example that has happened to someone, you know, that's happened to me.
Yeah. Real life.
Yeah. And so, for instance, we're going out and I budget to spend 10K. And, and I know the spot I have to go to spend 10K and enjoy myself. But this, my friend wants us to go to another spot where the same thing, instead of paying the 10K and enjoy myself, I have to pay like 15K. The same quality, no difference. So you don't want to offend your friend, and he or she is insisting, oh, let's go here. Let's go to B. Let's go to place B instead of place A. And you know that if you go to place A, you spend the 10K and you still have maximum, you know, you still enjoy yourself as much. You still, you know, eat what you want to eat, or, you know, and dine out and all that. But your friend wants to go to B, maybe because of the environment and all that.
Maybe and the prestige.
It's a bit better. So you don't, because you don't want to offend this friend, you decide to, you know, but you budgeted, but then you decide to go beyond your budget and spend 15K instead of the 10K budget. And that's where discipline also comes in. Discipline and peer pressure, I think they're two opposites. And, you know, I'm sure you're going to touch on that because that's a real life situation.
Okay, and I know for certain this comes with experience, and you know, within the team, it's not only about you know, talking about products. We want to add value to our clients, and there should be some products that can link this. And it's probably happened to me. I was in a pharmacy. I met an old friend. Politely, I said, "My guy, this is my budget. This is how much I have. You've got the Stanbic IBTC app. I've got a savings account. I've already told you that in this day and times, anyone on this call should have what we call a dollar account. The last amount of money I'll spend is actually my dollars. So you can see the solution there. Have a Stanbic IBTC savings account in this instance. Have a domiciliary account. Move around. We've already talked about 532. How much are you going to go out with? You have what we call the prepaid card. Since you brought that up, let me just probably flash that on the screen. Having a prepaid card and having amounts of money that are in your account that you know that you need to deal. So once you have a certain budget, you're going out, look for alternatives. Trust me, if you're someone that is out there in town, you need to have those alternatives. There are places you know that you spend X. There are places you know that you spend X times. So always have those alternatives anytime you go out there with your friends. We're not saying don't be a small spot, but see, if you have this amount in your card, the rest is inside your investment account. What can you do? I'm in the pension arm. I do what you call the voluntary contribution, and I'll talk about this. Like I said, I'm going to share our contact details, how our clients can reach out to us and get much more about this, because trust me, 1 hour is just too short. And I'm going to put very soon on the screen the prepaid card. You have a certain amount of money in your card. Nobody's going to kill you. It's one of those ways for budgeting, and it keeps you what? Disciplined, like you said. Peer pressure will come up. I put there. You can see the gentleman looking tush. He's got safety guarantee with a prepaid card, security and the likes. So have a certain amount in your card. Know how much you want to do what? Spend. Have a certain amount in your savings account. I notice what some people usually do. They just place all their monies in either a savings or in their current account, and they can do what? Dip into it. Chidebere, you get what I'm saying? If the money is not there, you're not going to spend it.
That's a dangerous thing to put all your money in one account. Yeah. Like you said, have separate accounts.
So for discipline's sake, all your monies can't just be in one account. And that is one of those tips. You're not lying. Your money is in your investment account. Your money is in your savings account. In some instances, don't even put a card linked to it. Have a prepaid card. In some instances, some people even talk about credit because there's ability for credit. Put limits to it. When you want to actually do what? Set money aside. What I do first is, just like the pension, I'm going to talk about micro pension and mandatory pension later on. You know, the wonderful thing about the mandatory pension scheme, before money hits your account, it's taken out. So always have that type of attitude that, see, before money goes out. See what I usually do, even because more or else, I don't like spending cash. I love the cashless. Even when we had the e-Naira thing come on board, I was one of the first. Anytime I have access to cash, I'll probably spend it. So what I'll do is I'll take this, divide it to half, put some aside, give some to wifey. You get, it's just about getting, Emmanuel just said it's called a secret account. Wonderful. So you have those details. And as much as possible, don't make it easily accessible for you. But I hope we're able to deal that stuff. And you're not being a small spot. You are getting cheaper alternatives. I'm going to give you guys feedback on our reward and saving. I always like looking for a deal, especially when I have my wants. If I'm going to go out, whether it's in our cafeteria, when you have to eat, you can save money by bringing food from home. If probably you forget, you look for alternatives. I know most of the young sports people here, you have to be the most disciplined person to keep to a strict diet. What do you think, Chidiberry? Yeah, you have to be very disciplined.
I think that's a fantastic point because at the end of the day, you know, be it the 5-3-2 formation or any formation one is using, is really all about staying disciplined. But I'm going to touch on Gen Z because when this is not really a Gen Z style, you know, I want to save some money. I need to take some, let me bring food from the house instead of buying food from the office and spending unnecessary money. And, for those who are single, there are those who have the money. If it's within your budget to eat out, you can eat out if it covers your spending budget for the month. But if it doesn't, you should know that if you can cook, you should try and cook. I mean, cooking would save you some money rather than always buying out. But the thing is, the Gen Z, and not, Gen Z are fantastic people, but there's a Gen Z feeling, and they don't see it as cool if you cook. They don't see it as cool if you bring food from the house. They don't see it as, but like you said, it's really all about the discipline and knowing what you want.
Discipline.
Just give an example of someone who wanted to do the masters, and you know that you have to save this amount for a year in your pension account with Stanbic IBTC to be able to achieve this the next year, the following year. Yeah. So again, we're in a different world where we're in a new world where people don't see some things as being cool. So sometimes you want to, allow the pressure get to you or get overwhelmed by the pressure and just want to do something big, just outside your financial plan. And I think that's very important to note that, the young people of these days don't see some things are not cool when you do them.
Yeah. And you're spot on, Chidiberry, and just lending a point to this issue about, the peer pressure bit. And if you can't see it, if you don't have access to it, you not spend it. And I said earlier that my wife is the saver. I'm more of the spender, and both of us are entrepreneurs. You get? If you don't have access to it, if the money is not there in your bank account, you will not save it. So you have to have, like Emmanuel said, a secret account. And, we're talking about the 5-3-2, the two, just to ensure that we encapsulate everything with regards Michael's savings, because 20% now of the 200K just comes to a miserly 40K. And I'm saying this because I was on with a client of mine. he opened up a micro pension account. By the way, micro pension is for, clients like, those artisans, those in the sports world above 18. You've got some form, and it's brilliant for those of us in the sports arena, sportsmen, sportswomen, you're above 18, you've got a contract, you have a side job, you're building up stuff. So this gentleman said, Obinna, how do I do this? So I told him it's something like an angel. You set money aside. I wanted him to start from that, that first step. Then he now came to me, Obinna, I've been setting money aside. I now have what? Goals. So budgeting and goals have to really click. And that is where savings is not enough. And that is why within Stanbic, we have all those things to make you reach that goal. We call it save and invest. So what are the goals you can have? For Michael,
so just to be clear, it's not enough saving. When you've now succeeded in saving, then what's your goal with this saving in terms of investment? So what's the next step after savings?
So for savings is unconscious. Savings makes you set money aside. So anyone that doesn't save cannot be an investor. So savings is one step, you go on to investing. Investing is longer term. So for example, Michael needs his master's. He has a savings account, he has a dollar account, and also the type of currency. Does Michael want to do his master's in Nigeria? Does he want to do his master's abroad? It makes sense for him to do what? Set aside such money in FX, foreign currency. Does Michael want to buy a house? Does he want to get married? So it's all about having the budget and that goal in play. And I always tell people that, especially those in, like I talked about, the pension plan for those of us in the sports associations, the pension plan that is, where you're not up to 3 or you're, on your own. The beauty about having such a plan in place is when you grow bigger, probably when you have a manager, and I tell every single person, don't leave all your financial matters. As they say, like this, we're having this session, have the minimum, the bare necessities. And the 532 will help you to basically set in place the bare necessities. You should set money aside for your needs, your wants, and savings. In Michael's case, budgeting shouldn't be difficult. That 532 plan, that stuff is an asset, especially since, when we came out from COVID. So the products that can basically help him with, of course, I told you about the savings account. I'm going to pop it up once you've asked your question. What are those goals that you need to set aside? It's just one big piece of the puzzle, but it's good to start with those percentages, 50%, 30%, and 20%. Over to you. Chidebe, you want to say something?
Yeah, so I'm just going to draw this fully back into sport because, again, there are a lot of student athletes who are watching this now and following this webinar, and of course, regular people. So the likes of Ronaldinho at some point was reportedly, broke, went bankrupt.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah. So Ronaldinho in football, we had so many, even Eboué, the former Arsenal player, young man, went broke at some point, but those were due to off-field issues. Those were due to marital issues. I think he married and I'm sure that was a more extensive, conversation, which because of time might not be allowed to touch everything today. Boris Becker in tennis was another, big tennis name. Made millions of dollars during his days, who is now broke. Mike Tyson at some point after his career was broke, even though now he's back and he's into the marijuana industry and in California.
Yeah, he also has some acting skills, remember. I've seen him in a couple of films. So it's all about having skills and, just getting up. That never die attitude. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and these are all names in sports who at some point or who are still broke or at some point who went broke. I just want to ask, or state that sometimes what happens to some of these guys is they have a certain taste of life. So They don't save they don't maybe save or invest a lot during their active days, because as a sportman, just like Dr. Tunde Akimburi was saying yesterday, as a sportman, you have about 15-year lifespan to practice on the highest level. So maybe they don't do a lot of investment during their active days. And then after their active days, they still keep that level of taste. They still want to ride a Lamborghini. They still want to, go to the fanciful hotel around. They still want to, fly on first class or even the private jets, But they didn't. But during their active days in sport, they didn't do as much to invest or to save enough that would help them, after they retire. So, basically, I mean, from coming from your perspective, I'm sure you'll be advising that as an athlete, when you retire, what should happen to your taste for life, or your taste, for life, basically? Does your taste reduce, or do you think it stays there, or do you think it goes higher?
Okay. From your examples, you gave lots of examples, and most of these chaps were guys that really, went around. There are also some guys that really have made it. The Beckhams, the Michael Jordans, that now have, clubs that even buy into other empires. I know, and like you rightly said, Doctor Session was brilliant yesterday on the lifespan. Those of us that are in that, not like those in blue-collar jobs, those that are in mainstream sports, just high adrenaline, things just go rush. So that is where the discipline, that is where you need what we call, in this instance, a manager. You need a wealth management specialist. And if your manager clearly is someone that assists you, you guys talked about King Richard yesterday, having that family support. Now that is where having a solid financial institution can be there at your background to ensure when you have a lot, you set aside a lot. So you can see the 5-3-2 stuff coming into play. Even though I know there are large sums that come in, you want to spend, you want to roll, you can do that. But clearly you are keeping to that rule. And you set much money aside. And in this instance, where you have someone that's probably rich, raking in so much money. I know, did you hear about the amount of money the golfers in the new Invitational? You heard about the amount they were getting?
Yeah, it's crazy.
One of those questions I went to ask you is that, are you sure both of us will just relax and start playing golf?
Yeah.
So these guys have managers. These guys take investment advice. They are on the high roll, high adrenaline, probably like Formula One, up there. But you find that the difference between those guys that stay in cash, stay in wealth, is that they have a solid financial plan. Financial plans change. That is where Stanbic IBTC in this instance, within this context, comes into play. Not only having that, we've not even talked about the insurance bit. I know some players will go way ahead to insure. If I'm correct, I don't know, I'm always thinking about Rihanna, when Rihanna insured, or Jennifer Lopez, but I know, if I'm correct, Beckham at some instance actually insured, was his right or left leg?
Leg, yeah. You did that.
There are some things in Nigeria, and this is for the youth. We have insurance plans. I have my 3 boys. There's what you call a term insurance. So those are some of those wants that will come into play. I've got a car. You have to insure your car. I've got various instances where we've had road mishaps. You've got issues with your car. Insurance will bring you back to that phase. So at any point in time, there's a financial principle, there's a financial plan. You can still do what? Enjoy your high rule lifestyle. Actually, but there's something when I started off, I had this principle about budgeting, cut your coat according to your size. Yeah. Then the children came along. Are you going to say that if your child cries, you're not going to get what? Milk or diapers? I don't know. I've got over that diaper stuff. But guess what? You have to increase your streams of income. And that is where you have your partner. Yeah, you invest, because the easiest way to actually do what? Make more money in a safe way is probably through, we have within Stanbic a mutual fund. And by the way, I'm going to put our contact details, my contact details. And for those that want to probably link up, I know this is going to be played. Link up, whether it's pension, I've talked about voluntary contributions to help you meet a goal, whether it's non-pension, asset management that has to do with having a dollar type investment or having a naira type investment, whether it's an insurance plan that takes you back. Right now, we have lots of insurance plans, even to an instance, funeral insurance. Some people never believe they're going to die or things will get out of place. Trust me, young guys, it's not only elderly guys or the Nollywood. You've seen these issues. I don't know whether you've seen some horrific injuries in sports. I always tend to look off, but things can happen. But you have a principle, a plan in place that will take you back or help you out through. So that is where most of these athletes got it wrong. True stroke of luck, but having something by the side, having a financial institution, having savings, not going into risky stuff and being disciplined should probably be the watchword for the young guys out there.
Well, if you're just joining us, we've been speaking to someone who's been telling us about the numbers, but beyond the numbers, about stories, attaching to the numbers and stories we can relate. Mr. Obinna Lewis-Asonye, who is a business development manager for micro pensions at Stanbic IBTC. And so far, we've been talking about the 532 formation for your finances. It's called Financial Formation for Life. And he's also been sharing some of the tips from Stanbic IBTC to help us, have a cushion. Invest, save well, spend healthy, invest healthy, and save healthy as well, as far as our finances are concerned. And I think, Mr. Obinna, is there any other thing you'd like to add? Let's take one or two questions before we wrap
brilliant.
up. It's a comprehensive package. I don't think we've even scratched the surface, but like you said, they can reach out to you. And I think we should have this, because there are lots of people who, you've been dropping some, great nuggets in terms of spending. And we'll talk about peer pressure. I also raised that, that opinion that sometimes people, and peer pressure is real. It is real. To show off, you want to also show that you have money, that you're earning well. Meanwhile, you're forgetting that you have a goal. Maybe you want to make some investment, or you want to go back to school, and then you want to spend. Or you don't need a car, but then you go on to get a car as a young person. You have a goal and you need some money, and you go on to get a car because one, you have the money, two, your mates are buying cars, but you're going a different direction. You're chasing a goal. If you take that money, the car, that 2 million or 3 million or 4 million or 5, to get that car, you won't be able to make that investment that would help you in the next 3, 4, 5 years. So we touched about that as well, which also falls under the tree of peer pressure. People falling towards peer pressure. And I think Mr. Obinna, one of the ground points of some of the things you've said is do what works for you, but save and invest and spend wisely.
Yeah, and just pointing to what you've said, a car can be either an asset or liability. But in most instances, the way we use vehicles here, it doesn't earn money for us. I know I've had that plan that I'll never get a car, but sometimes I need a car to move around for work, bare necessities. Even, can you imagine, some of us do not track how much fuel we spend to fill up my vehicle, because I stay on the axis. We have the Lagos mainland and the island side. Probably in a week, 12,000 naira to fill up a car. But some people just do that without even thinking. So you have to plan. How much will I get back from that 12K? From my income, how does it deal? And I've seen lots of, questions and stuff online about not having a job. It first starts with the skills you have. And I always speak to athletes. What you have can actually get you to where you want to be. Most people use sports as a get out of jail card. From there, I know that we talked about the stuff about somebody in the football team and also going to his studies. It can happen for you. Don't lose grasp of one, because the skills you have that can actually deal or actually stay from now on will really help out. How would you make money? I know the masterclass is all about budgeting, but the skill you have that will enable you to do what? To set aside something for tomorrow, something that someone can't take away is basically where you see. There are lots and lots of examples about that, but like you said, we can't deal all that in this stuff.
Yeah.
The budgeting 532 formula is for how you can, that your hard-earned cash. It's not easy, but it is simple and it's disciplined. Exactly, like I said, you have 200K. Once you are using 150K, Chidebe, I don't know where you've seen all those charts that you see someone will buy a couple of groceries and put it on the screen and say, I bought this for 10K, I bought this for 50K. And people say, no, that's it. So
yeah.
Right now, guys on this call, do you know how much goes to your groceries? You can guess what? Be benefit of a staff. We have this link that, and of course, through the Stanbic IBTC app, that you could click on that link for we staff. And I found out how much I spend for data, how much I spend for this. It helps once in a week have what we call a money hour. Once in a month, just sit down and see, especially when the money comes. Don't have it when the money has gone out. Have it when the money comes and says, calm down, I'm rich. How much is going to be set aside for my wants, my needs, and savings? And start with the savings first. To the very end.
I think that's such a big catch what you just said, because the thing is, when that money comes, sometimes if you don't have a plan for it, it just flies away.
It goes out.
It grows wings and fly away. But just from what you've said so far, according to the 532 financial formation, which Stanbic IBTC products can service each rule: 50% for needs, 30% for wants, and 20% for savings. I'm sure I'm correct on that. So some of the questions coming in here, this is from Mike, says, what product from Stanbic IBTC bank can help with investment for young people with increasing deflation? Saving in Naira is somewhat long-term loss, which is true.
Okay, and that's a brilliant question. And when you say young people, I'll take it that you're above 18. And I like to say that you don't even have to be born. I started planning for my children before they were born. So you can actually save or invest on behalf of the unborn. And we have wonderful products. We've got a chess account for a child. It's an educational savings account dedicated to education. We have non-pension. I've talked about mutual funds, both in Naira and dollars. Like I said, it can be for a child, it can be for an adult. Of course, once you reach 18, it gets transferred to the adult. We've got the dollar fund, and the non-pension, and the assets. That's a Stanbic IBTC asset management, to be precise. So you actually have to source for the dollars. You transfer it to us, open up your account, you fill your KYC. I've put my details on the screen. You can send an email and, of course, state HiFL, that you actually got the lead from HiFL, so we know where you came on board. Reach out to us, we get straight to you. And it's brilliant because you have to dedicate, like we say, I don't like using the word buckets. Let's talk about, since we're in the 532, let's talk about goals. So your goal now is dollar. Dollar probably for masters abroad. So that's a goal. You've hit that. Your goal, like I said, my children, I've started planning. The first guy is going to go to secondary school. Where is he going to go? Books, much more things. What if something happens? Have a term insurance. Have an insurance plan. I've not even talked about your house. You can have what we call a home shield or home insurance plan. Aside from that, just look at those steps that can assist you meet those goals. And they are goals that are reachable. It all starts with your income. I said it earlier. When you have that money, sit down. I know you're rich. Just try to be a little bit humble and know where the money will go into. Don't try and flex too much. Don't forget that we're not being a Scrooge. You have your wants, so you can spend, but look for where you will not go above, in some instances, even go into debt. When you don't pay money in some of those restaurants, you go wash the plates or get a good beating. We don't want any of our clients on this call, none of our youths. I know you guys can run. We don't want you to start running away from the book out of the restaurant. It starts with that plan. You would get there, trust me. Once you start setting money aside, you build and inculcate a habit. I said I was going to share one of the pictures of our savings account. Yeah, our savings account. One of the savings accounts we have within Stanbic, we're having what we call a reward for savings now. So that means those of you out there can actually do what? Deposit 10,000 into an existing or new savings account. It can be an at-ease account. Make sure it stays for 30 days. And voila, you qualify for a promo. There's nothing as sweet as saving, investing, and also making money on it. So that's it there. It's probably going to be valid till 31st March 2023. There's always a beauty in it, having an account and also having the opportunity to become a millionaire. We made millionaires of a couple of people, and this is just like how I have a brace on the masterclass is our season 2.0.
Great. Just finally, I saw this question and someone was asking, how do one ensure, or how does one ensure when you don't have a job? Emmanuel sent that one on our Q&A.
Very, very good question. And you're spot on. If you don't have money or any assets to insure, you can't insure. So insurance as a want is linked to something. And I'll tell you guys something. For those of us that have pensions, whether it's a micro pension or mandatory pension, there's this thing called group life if you're in the mandatory pension space. So the assets you have, which is your pension, is actually insured. In some instances, we also have what we call a will, so that such monies get passed to your beneficiaries. These are all discussions we can have within, the Stanbic IBTC realm. And I tell people that don't wait till you get money to actually start having those conversations. A wise and smart lady or guy would listen to such conversations, read books, follow on social media. Social media is where you can get lots and lots of information. Follow the Stanbic IBTC, link, Twitter handle. I love Twitter. Follow us on Facebook and those other places. And by the way, Chidebere, I noticed some questions on the Q&A. For example, there's one from Jimmy Jackson that says, "It's a pleasure to join the conversation, Jimmy." Nice. My question to the guest is, saving when there's no steady income. How can one get through, especially for students who are totally dependent? I feel you, Jimmy. Where you don't have steady income in this instance, you can still use the 5-3-2 formation. But this issue now is I look for other streams of income, especially when you need to access your backup savings. In this instance, the critical bit should be, how can I make much more money from what I have set aside? So that means any savings you make must be able to make assets for you. I know people that are into trading. I know people that are into hair barbing. I know people that are into even driving, Ubers. So there's always something out there. What you need to do is just put on your, just like Chidebere and I are wearing what you call a humble jacket. Put on your humble jacket, use your skills. We have people in the Paralympics that probably even win gold and even run faster than some of us that are here. They do this because they have that drive. So it's not all about that pity party. Get out there and do something. My wife is from Cross River, and guess what? She was able to launch into agribusiness, and voila, she's an entrepreneur. There's one other question. Why from Adetola, why is it been difficult for students to access forest over the last few months, especially for school fees, upkeep, and allowance? And what is the way out from the banking POV? This is a discussion we have. I know you can access FX, especially under the CBN rules, and you need to have links to any bank. For example, within the Stanbic IBTC bank network, you go to a bank that has Forex, you link up and you are able to access it. So far, you meet all the parameters. Like you said, if funds are available, FX, especially within the group, I know that because students are given priority, medicals are given priority, and those things are not under the list, the banned list. So far, those funds are available. So please ensure you link up to a Stanbic IBTC Bank branch that is available. Put the customer care email address there, link up on social media, and let's get you growing. As you say in Stanbic IBTC, it can be.
Yeah, well, that was such a fantastic session, Mr. Obinna Lewis-Asonye. I don't know, you do well as a motivational speaker, but I'm very motivated to improving my saving and improve my be more disciplined with my saving. Yeah. And I've learned a whole lot just listening to you, and also learning that we need to apply this formula. There has to be a formula. Don't just of course formulas can change, but there has to be a formula of how you save, and the 5-3-2 formula works, but then it cannot also change. Thank you so much. Well, we're not done with you yet. We'll get what I call Obinna's nuggets before we leave. So maybe it could be a word or two. But we're about to go on a break now. So far, we'll be speaking to Mr. Obinna from Stanbic IBTC, Mr. Obinna Lewis-Asonye, who is a business development manager for micro pensions at Stanbic IBTC. And today we've been talking about money. We'll be talking about the 5-3-2 formation, financial formation, which is the financial formation for life. And well, it's been such a rich and resourceful time. I've spent 1 hour on this session, and it feels like we should just go on and on. I'm sure a lot of young people who are on this session must have picked a thing or two. If you pick one thing today, that could help you for life, because it's really all about being smart and cutting your coat according to your size. I'd like to also say that. So let's go on a break. Again, I would say a big shout out to all our sponsors for this year's edition of the HiFL Master Series 3.0. We've got, of course, Stanbic IBTC, who have been working with us here at the HiFL Masterclass Series. We've got Bold, who are refreshing us. Of course, Hivasa. I'm probably going to get sued because I know I murdered that name, but Nuga is also in there. So thank you, and thanks to all the guys who are working backroom to make sure this year's edition is live. Let's go on that break. We'll come back. We'll hear Obinna's nugget. It's been a pleasure so far. I've been speaking to Mr. Obinna Lewis-Asonye, who has been telling us a lot about the 5-3-2 financial formula. It's a financial formula for life. It's really all about how you can make the best out of your finances and don't go bankrupt and making the best out of your financial life and being wise, spending wise, saving wise, and investing wise. Thank you so much, Mr. Obinna. Just before we get Obinna's nuggets, I'd just like to say that yesterday during our first session with the doctor, Dr. Tunde Akimbinu, we asked a question for the giveaways, because during this series we'll be giving out stuff to encourage people to join us, special stuff. And we had a winner yesterday. We had a winner, Abdul Afigboa was our winner yesterday. We gave out a jersey, an authentic jersey from the High Institutions Football League. So congrats to you, Abdul Afigboa. Today, we'll also be doing another giveaway. I'll share the questions after Mr. Obinna speaks and gives us his nuggets. And I'd like to say again, thank you to all our sponsors, Stanbic IBTC, Standing Strong, Ivasa, also thank you, and Bold, and not forgetting Nuga. Mr. Obinna, let's wrap things up. This one has been fun today. We've been talking numbers, but it hasn't really felt like numbers. If maths was like this in secondary school, I would have passed maths. Maybe I would have been working at Stanbic IBTC. While you were talking, I was just like, let's get this information out there, because a lot of people think they know, but they don't actually know. Let's get this information out there and let's push it even further on several media. But thank you for doing this. And, at some point we had over 30 people who were watching. I'm sure a lot of them gained a thing or two. Let's just wrap it up with Obinna's nuggets, and then we'll say bye.
Okay, you said earlier I'm the micro pension manager with Stanbic IBTC, and this is my nugget. And this is where we need to push it here. Everyone watching this call, probably live, and also when you're going to watch it recorded, every single Nigerian now can have what we call a pension account. You don't really have to be, in federal civil service or a private company. You just have to be 18 and earning some form of income. You've got your valid national identity number. I've already shared, contact details that you can send us an email. Now you can do it online. And, I've heard people talk about how much do I have. It all takes a job. And most of us probably know about the job thing, it just takes one step. Set aside 500 naira every day, 1,000 naira every day. Open up a savings account with Stanbic. Open up a micro pension account if you are not in, and we're talking to young people in, sports now, ladies, and you can see the lady there. Be happy like the lady here. And it is driven for those that are young. What we usually say is when the youth actually grasp stuff and are able to be wealthy. If we have wealthy youth, we have a wealthy nation. If we have productive youth, if we have knowledgeable youth, guess what? In Stanbic, just like how we've sponsored the HiFL and we're on this masterclass, it's all about sharing knowledge. And Chidebere, you can see, is my friend. He's gained so much by just saying the right thing, being peaceful. There's lots of noise out there. You follow, an institution that has you. As they say, we have the value add. You are clients, we want you to prosper. And on a final note, it can be, please reach out on our social media handles, share, like. If it's any of the HiFL games, you see a Stanbic IBTC representative, grab that person. So far you have the Stanbic IBTC. Yeah, that's the logo. The logo is here. Anyone you see, grab us and say, how can I become wealthy? It's not about betting yourself to prosperity. It's not about being in any of those funny vices. It's not about, doing things that, putting your money in all these get rich schemes. Kalu. We know all these things. Just take it with an institution that has you at heart and wants to make sure you reach your financial goals. And I'm very happy we're doing this through this masterclass. Thanks, bro.
Well, many thanks to you. That was such a fantastic praise, Mr. Obinna Lewis-Asonye. We're waiting for a hat trick. This match isn't over.
Hat trick. Yeah.
We're waiting for a hat trick in the second half.
You need to send me the match ball once we get a hat trick next year.
Absolutely. I'll send you the match ball. By the way, Mr. Obinna Lewis-Asonye dropped his contact details on the chat so you can get in touch ask more questions. I know we're all unique. We're all in, different, we're all in differently. So get in touch and know how, know which formula works for you. It could be 5-3-2 for Tomiwa, and for Edgar, it could be, it could play a two-man defense. I don't know. All right. So we're doing another giveaway today. As always, the way to reach, be a part of the giveaway is to reach us on our social media, HiFL Nigeria, across all socials, on Instagram, Facebook, and on Twitter. So go to our social media platforms and answer the question. And here's the question. According to the 532 financial formation, which Stanbic IBTC products can service each role? 50% needs, 30% need, 30% want, and 20% savings. Yeah, I'm going to go do the question again. According to the 532 financial formation, which Stanbic IBTC products can service each role? We've got the 50% needs, the 30% wants, and the 20% savings. Okay, go to our socials and make sure when you're sending your answer, if you're kind enough, use the hashtag HiFL Masterclass Series 3.4. That'll be very nice. And we'll look forward to hearing from you. Mr. Obinna Lewis-Asonye, thank you so much for making our time. It's been a fantastic 1 hour plus here with you and just learning. And I'm sure there's still a whole lot. And I'll personally be reaching out as far as this is concerned, and you know, to get more into some of the details. Tomorrow it gets even better in the HiFL Masterclass series, season 3 or 3.0. Tomorrow we'll be having a FIFA Under-17 World Cup winner tomorrow. And he's not just a FIFA Under-17 World Cup winner, a former Super Eagles coach. And, we'll also, I'm sure you've seen him on the flyers. For some of you who are still watching, is Emmanuel Amunike, former Super Eagles player himself and former Barcelona player. I'm sure Mr. Obinna loved Barcelona because, but maybe not this Barcelona, maybe Barcelona of Messi.
I'll reserve my comments on Barcelona.
All right. Well, they are broke
so
now.
I didn't get murdered.
They are broke now. Maybe they should have used the 5-3-2 formation, you know, but they didn't. They didn't. Anyway, tomorrow we're having Emmanuel Amunike, former Super Eagles player, former Super Eagles coach, on the 17 World Cup winner. And of course, you know, big coach as far as big football person as far as football is concerned.
In Nigeria,
and globally. Yeah. Thank you again, Mr. Obinna Lewis-Asonye. It's been a fantastic pleasure. We're back tomorrow. I'm sure you're going to join us tomorrow. Maybe drop a question for Emmanuel Amunike.
I'm going to be around all through. Doctor session, the mental health stuff was brilliant. Some nice nuggets, clearly, about having, you know, your job, you know, is being able to be on ground and fulfill his goals, both in the sports stuff and also as a doctor. And like I say, financial wealth is key, emotional health is key, being balanced. And all sessions should be a must watch for everyone on this call and more.
Absolutely. Thank you again. Thank you so much, Mr. Obinna Lewis-Asonye, who is, of course, you know, one of the big men at Stanbic IBTC.